Are you someone who's looking to buy or sell in 2023 but don't know what's going on in the market? We all know right now the reason the housing market is going down is because of mortgage rates. So in 2023, are mortgage rates gonna go up, go down, or stay the same? On today's video, I'm gonna break down the 3 scenarios that might happen next year, because none of us actually know, and what you have to pay attention to so you can have a better idea of what is going to happen, so that will make better plans for you when it comes to buying and selling in 2023. What's going on, everyone? Adam Schwarz here, top real estate agent. If you're into buying and selling real estate, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and hit that bell button so you don't miss any of our videos, because this week I'm talking about mortgage rates in 2023 and if they're gonna go down, go up, or stay the same. I think the big thing people don't know is how actually mortgage rates work. You know, everyone just talks about interest rates, or the Fed is raising interest rates, and people think that is raising mortgage rates, which that's not how it works. So let me break down on the board how mortgage rates work. When it comes to getting your mortgage, you kind of have a better idea how it actually works. So you have a bank, and a bank has billions and billions of dollars, and a bank is a business. So the bank has all these billions of dollars that we put in our checking accounts to see what they can lend out to people to make more money. And so right now, mortgage rates normally follow what's called the 10-year bond. Basically is I'm gonna lend my money to the US government and they're gonna pay me back a percentage. So as interest rates go up and the 10-year bond goes up, then that means more people will probably lend to the US government, because the US government is the safest person to lend to. They've never missed a payment. So think about yourself as a bank. You have billions of dollars and you're sitting here going, okay, who do I wanna lend these billions of dollars to? Because I gotta lend to someone so I can make profit. So I can lend it to the US government right now, and I'm gonna get 4% return on my money, but I know a guarantee that I'm gonna get 4% on that money. Or do I wanna lend it to a home buyer and a mortgage that's a little bit more riskier? That's why your credit score matters. Higher credit score shows people that you pay them back, and that's why the bank is taking less of a risk on you, and that's why your rate's higher. If your credit score is lower, then obviously the bank is taking on more risk, and that's why they've raised your interest rate. And so the banks right now are going, hey, do I wanna give 4% and get guaranteed money, or I'm gonna give it to a home buyer for a mortgage? Well, if I'm gonna do that and there's a little bit more risk, I'm gonna raise up the gap between what I make for the yield versus a home buyer. And that's what's called a spread. Remember the word spread, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's how a mortgage works. So in 2023, there's 2 ways mortgage rates will go down. Number 1 is that the 10-year falls. And you might say, Adam, but like you just said, they're raising rates and all these things. Yes. So the 10-year can fall if we go into a global recession, because like I said, the safest investment you can make is giving the US government money. They've never missed a payment. So when things get shifty, the housing market, the stock market, the crypto world, when all these things are having fear in them, the unknown, investors run to the bond market because they know it's guaranteed money. And what does anything happen? Supply and demand. If we have a massive amount of people throwing money in the bond market, what does it do? The US government goes, well, we have tons of people giving us money. We don't have to give them as much money back, and that what lowers the bond. And if that goes down, like I said, the mortgage rates follow the 10-year bond. If bonds go down, mortgage rates go down. So that's one way. The other way is, like I said, well, I remember that word spread. So normally what the spread is the spread is between the 10-year 4% and mortgage rates. And that little back in the middle, the 2% right there, is a spread. And you might hear people talk about basis points. Basis points is just a cool way to say like 170 basis points is just 1.7%. Okay, just remember, I don't know why we say basis points on the online or on news, but basis points would. So the average basis point on spreads is 1.7%. Currently right now, we're at 2.9%. And the reason why we're seeing such a big spread right now is the unknown. Since 2000, the spread has been over 200 3 times. Great Recession, right when COVID hit, and right now. This is actually the highest spread we've seen since 1987. And so it's just saying the unknown. Fear and unknown is what controls markets. So right now, people just don't know, are we going into a recession? Is inflation going up? What's happening? And so banks are widening the spread of how much money they're gonna make on these deals because of the unknown. No. And so there is a chance where the highest we've ever been that the spread goes down more to a normal rate, which then they'll bring down mortgages. And that's the big thing that we kind of need to know what's going on in the market. Like, is inflation gonna keep rising? Is the Fed gonna calm down? Or are we going into a recession? Those are 3 things we need to watch out for. There's 3 scenarios when it comes to 2023. 1, inflation continues and the Fed just keeps raising rates. Last month, the reason why it was so good to see inflation rates that so many people thought were gonna come in at 7.9 came in at 7.7. Why that is so important? It's showing that what the Fed is doing is actually slowing down inflation. And so that is a good sign. So the question is on December 13th, another report's gonna come out. And if that report comes out again below 7.7, then that is showing everyone what the Fed is doing is working. And that means hopefully the Fed realizes, hey, inflation's slowly going down. We're gonna just maintain where we're at. That is the hope. I don't think number one is going to happen because of that last report that came out, but if the report comes out next month, if that report comes in low again, then I think it's a good sign that we're gonna be number two, that the Fed is just slowly gonna calm things down. We're not gonna hear them talking about raising 100 basis points or 75 basis points. Hopefully we just see maybe 50 basis points, or where they just go, hey, we're just gonna hang out for a second. We're gonna stop raising basis points right now. We're not gonna raise rates anymore just to see what the economy do. And then the third scenario is that we economically just fall into a massive recession. I know a lot of people are hoping this one happens because they think they're gonna pick up foreclosures or all these things. You have to realize this. When this happens, you lose your job. And when you lose your job, you can't buy a house. Or your family member loses their job, or your parents lose a job. So if your parents lose their job in the recession, are you gonna go buy a house, or are you gonna probably have to move in them and help them pay for their house? I always think it's so funny when people want this to happen so they can pick up a house. When you wish that upon someone, you're wishing it upon your friends and family who own houses. Just so you realize that. And the most of the people, if you weren't able to buy the last few years, unless you've stacked a lot of cash, you're not gonna be able to buy when this happens, because what is going to happen? The banks know that everyone is more riskier, so that means if you have a low interest rate, they probably won't even lend money to you, or they're gonna charge a crap load when it comes to the interest rates because there's bigger risk. These are the three scenarios. So December 13th is a big day for us. If the report comes out and the number is lower, then I think we're going into number two. If the report comes in higher or stays the same, I think we're gonna go into possibly number one or number three. But pay attention. No one knows what's gonna happen next year, so you gotta stay in tune on what's going on and stop looking at the big headlines because they're just there to get you to click on their ad. Trust me, market is going down. We all know that. But how far is it gonna go down? We won't know that until we know one of these scenarios, because if rates go back down, the housing market will just kick back up because job reports are still looking good. Unemployment's still low. So if unemployment's still low, inflation starts going down, they start lowering rates, and I think we're just gonna slowly get back to hopefully 2019 prices, and we'll kind of go from there. So I'd love to know what you guys think about it. I'd love to know what scenario you think is going to happen. So comment below if you think it's gonna be 1, 2, or 3. If you need anything, please reach out. Until next time, peace.